All right, guys, welcome back to Bulls Eat Fishing. Today, we're going to talk about how I was able to cash those two checks.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh. Yeah!
Like I said, today we're going to talk about how I was able to cash those two checks that's hanging up on the wall. That's first place on KBF Trail Series Lanier Day 1 and second place on KBF Lanier Day 2. This was about, I know it's probably been, going on 2-3 weeks now since I fished that tournament. It's crazy, I was so shell-shocked immediately after the tournament that it took me a while, and then I had a couple people reach out to me to, write up some articles, so on and so forth. For winning those two tournaments, or winning the first day and then coming very close the second day, which we'll get into. But also, after that, my work got super busy the past 2 weeks, and so I was trying to play catch up, and I was just now today able to finally get caught up from 2-3 weeks ago and finally get back to somewhat of a groove. But so if y'all aren't aware, I fished the KBF Lanier Trail Series, or the Trail Series that's on Lake Lanier here in Dawsonville, Georgia. Actually, Lake Lanier covers about 3 counties, but, that's technically my home lake, I guess you could say. But it's always been feast or famine with me on Lanier. It has always been, I go out there and absolutely crush them, but never able to, if I'm fishing online or even fishing another tournament on Lanier like I did last year, I've never been able to catch the fish to get, that first place check. And it was very difficult for all of us. And so I'm going to take you through kind of, day by, or not really day by day, but, the morning of day one, going into winning day one, and then waking up the next day, going into day two, and literally coming within three-tenths of a second of cash, or of winning day two. So, like I said, it was about 3 weeks ago, but it was right after the last hurricane that, I know we got another one coming in this week, but right after the last hurricane, I'm not sure what hurricane it was, we were seeing that whole week before, we were seeing all the rain come in and the bands from the hurricane down the Gulf. So it was very crazy what Lanier was going on. And on top of that, this is a crazy time of year too, because usually on Lanier this time of year, beginning of October, late September, beginning of October, you're still in that kind of transition that, the mornings are starting to get cold and the nights, but then the days are heating up to 80 degrees like it is today. So you're not sure if you're going to go out there and throw your traditional summer pattern, or this time of year, which is, drop shot, deep brush, or, if they've started to push up shallow for the, fall transition. So it was very difficult on top of that. And then you had all this weather coming in. And usually, whenever I fish a tournament, especially if it's close to home, I will go out there 3 weeks before, and fish every week until that final week. And then I would usually say the tournament's on Saturday, I will fish Monday to Wednesday and then let it settle for 2 days. That's typically if I'm guaranteed going to that same spot that I'm fishing. Now if I have multiple locations around the lake or the river or wherever I'm fishing, then, Monday I might fish, number 1 spot, and then Monday afternoon or Tuesday I might fish number 2 spot to see which one, see really where they're sitting at, and really which one is leaning more towards the day I need to go to. But with this tournament, like I said, ever since COVID kick, I've been so blessed. I've been super busy with work, so I only got to pre-fish the Friday before. Let's see, the tournament was on Saturday, Sunday, not the immediate Friday before, but the Friday, or I guess it was a week out from fishing it. I was able to go out Friday for probably 3 hours, 4 hours. And then Sunday, I was able to go out for probably 2 hours. And on top of that, I only had one location that I was fishing. I haven't even dug into a second location yet. So I was not how I usually am whenever I'm fishing a tournament. And I think it actually played into my favor, but, we'll get into that. So again, I was only able to pre-fish a total of probably, let's just say a total of 6 hours, 7 hours. Okay, that's it. And that was the week before the storm was coming through. So I didn't even go check my spots after the rain turned out, or after the rain headed out. So very, very crazy. And so it rained Monday to like Wednesday, and they were calling for rain to Thursday and Friday, and potentially rain Saturday morning. But it stopped raining Wednesday. It was cloudy, I think, Thursday, and then it finally turned some sun Friday. But then it immediately got cold and got cloudy for Saturday, and windy on top of that. So very, very crazy. So, going into the night before, I went out for my mother-in-law's birthday, so I wasn't even at the house prepping tackle, prepping the boat or anything. I literally got home about 9 o'clock that night. I literally threw my crap in the truck, packed my lunch, and then I hit the hay. And then so I woke up Saturday morning, and I woke up super early. I wanted to be at the ramp at 5, ended up being there at like 4:30. Because I just was so scatterbrained and so unprepared, I didn't know what I was going to do. And so when I get to the lake, guys, keep in mind, Lake Lanier, on a weekend is already terrible, but since the cold weather and the rain sit, we didn't have the stupid idiots out on the lake, but we had crazy, crazy winds going on and crazy white capping. Something that if it was a normal day, I would not go out and fish due to how, lack of a better term, how dangerous the lake was. So I get there, and I can't even get my boat in the water because the waves were crashing the boat ramp, and it was almost near impossible just to get my boat in the water. And I have a trailer. And on top of that, I had a bass boat tournament, a 25 bass boat tournament going out of that same boat ramp. That I have no clue. I knew there was 4 bass boat tournaments going on Lanier that day, but I didn't know one was coming out of the boat ramp that I was at. And I'm not going to tell you the boat ramp that I'm at because it's kind of my sweet spot now. But, we'll see what happens. But anyways, so I'm sitting there. I get in the water, and, with KBF, you can't start heading to your location till, I think it's 6. I have to look back at the rules. At 6 a.m., you can start heading, and then you beat your spot, or at 6 or 6:30, and then you lines in at 7. In a different time of year, so on and so forth, so it changes. So I'm sitting in the water, and literally no one else in mind besides 25 bass boats that are loading in. And I would literally bump my trolling motor, go up about 20 feet, and then I would drift immediately back to the boat ramp. Because I was trying to stay out of the way of the boats getting in the water, and it was just terrible. Finally, a guy comes up here, he goes, from the bass boat tournament, he goes, what are you doing out here? I tell him what's going on out there on Lanier, and told him look out for us, because there was like 60, 65 people out there that day. And he goes, what are you going to do in a kayak with the wind the way it is? I go, sir, I'm going to give it my best luck. I'm going to give it my best shot and see what happens. But, all right, let's fast forward. Okay, so finally cracks down to where I can start heading my first spot. I can't get lines in yet, but I can finally start heading my first spot. On the way to my first spot, my initial idea going into the game or going into the tournament, and I think everybody's kind of game plan for that day was to fish topwater that morning due to the conditions, the weather, the chilliness. They're going to be busting topwater. So I head over to my first bluff wall that I'm fishing that day. And sure enough, I run into Mike Minivan. I call him Mike Minivan. It's like Mike Mavana or something like that. My old Westbrook teammate, good buddy of mine. He's putting in another boat ramp across the lake. We meet up. We crack some jokes. We talk a little while, catch up. And then, then finally lines in the water, and we're basically fishing the same bluff wall. He fishes it for about the first 20 minutes, and then he goes on to his next point, next bluff wall. I stay because these fish are busting. I see them bust, 20 feet away over here on this point, and I see them busting, 5 feet over here on this brush. So I was like, okay, they must be around here, but I threw whopper plopper, crankbait, spook, jackhammer. I threw everything at these guys. Nothing would hit on that bluff wall. So I gave it to my first hour from 7 to 8, and I focused it on that bluff wall. Didn't get a bite whatsoever. Came close, but, I would literally throw it right at them, and they just wouldn't bite it. So I was like, okay, well, I kind of got down and out at that point in time, and I was like, well, let's, I know where I'm fishing mainly, so let's go ahead and head to that spot and make sure no one else has got on those spots from the time that I was at the bluff wall, and if someone came in later or anything like that. So I didn't want to ruin that. So I start heading back towards the boat ramp where I was headed to, or where I initially put in, and I came across my first brush pile. Okay, keep in mind, this is on the main channel of the lake and somewhat back into a cove, so the wind is howling into this cove, okay? Whitecaps going everywhere, and I'm trying to fish this brush that's off of this cove. And so basically what I had to do was I had to motor and I had to paddle to keep my position and then also try to cast. So basically what I do is I would motor up in front of the brush pile, I would cast it in, I threw in a shaky head. I'm not telling you what it was on, but I threw in a shaky head, and I initially started drifting back. Well, as soon as I would start drifting back, I would get a bite, and it was a big bite. So I set the hook on my first fish. I finally got the boat, ended up being like an 18 and a quarter, 18 and a half, somewhere around there. I'm like, oh my God, okay, this is working for me now. So I get fired up. The nerves are really starting to rush, and my adrenaline's starting to rush. And so I go, you know what? I keep referring back to Fluke Master's video. One's luck, two's a pattern. Okay, so I go to that same spot, cast it in, and then I start drifting back from the wind, set the hook on another 18-inch bass. I'm like, okay, here's my pattern. So let's, because I didn't even have a pattern set for pre-fishing. Keep in mind, guys, I had no pattern, no anything. I was literally just shooting in the dark here. So I finally get that one on, get it measured, get it submitted, and I fished that brush pile again. Then I initially got just pissed off because of the wind. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to try my other few spots and see if I can get tucked into somewhere. But keep in mind that wind was pushing the bait fish in. So I was like, I got to keep that in the back of my head. I don't want to tuck too far back into a cut or a cove because I need to still have that wind, working with me here. And so I go on over. I catch a couple little. I think I caught like a 14-inch fish off a boat ramp, or not a boat ramp, a boat dock. Because usually, I'm a big boat dock fisherman, but I couldn't get that bite going that day. So I'm going over to my next blowdown, and I call them brush piles and blowdowns. My next blowdown, and there's two blowdown. There's rock and there's clay bank. And you're sitting at about 20. The bulk of the tree is probably about 20 feet of water. So I started fishing a shaky head along that bank. We got a couple little bites, nothing too promising, and then I would turn around and I wanted to throw my Z-Man jackhammer through it. And so initially what I would do is I would throw the shaky head through it. If I didn't get a bite, I would initially turn around and throw a jackhammer through it again to see if they wanted something kind of a little bit different. And what that would do is like they would look at the shaky head, no, that's not too intriguing. But immediately that Z-Man, that jackhammer would come through, hit it on the spot. And what's weird is I would cast that shaky head and that jackhammer, and I would hit the bank. Okay, it'd be on dry land, and I would pull it into the water. Within 3 cranks or 3 pulls of a shaky head, I'd get that bite immediately. So that told me, okay, they're hugging clay banks near brush. So I follow out that pattern throughout the rest of the day. About lunchtime, I started getting into more fish. I go into a next blowdown, clay bank, sand bank, rock bank, and I really start working on that. I focused on this one bank probably for about 2 hours, okay? Hooked into some really, really good fish that put me initially in the lead, okay? At this time, you're midday, noon, 1 o'clock, and I'm in the lead. Okay, I didn't have a healthy lead, but I'm in the lead. So I keep fishing, I don't want to keep ruining those spots because I can go to those same spots at the end of the day and see if I, maybe catch a kicker fish. And so I'm in the lead, I'm culling fish. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back in this deep pocket and just see when the wind's calm, see what I can get my hands on. I finally get all the way back up in there and didn't get a bite whatsoever. So I'm like, okay, so I humped it back to, keep in mind this is like probably 3 miles away 2-3 miles away back to where I was catching fish. And I immediately started casting the same pattern. Shaky head, jackhammer, shaky head, jackhammer. Didn't pick nothing else up. That's all I was fishing that whole day. After I started, whenever I started culling. And so I picked up some more kicker fish. And I finally got somewhat of a comfortable lead. But then another guy came in, and I think we were a quarter of an inch apart. For the remaining of the day, I didn't catch no more fish. This was probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so line's out at 3. But there was a lot of people sandbagging. I'm not going to say no names, okay? There was a lot of people sandbagging that I knew should be on the board, but they didn't submit their fish till after 3 o'clock. It's just part of the game, I'm not that guy. As soon as I catch a fish, I submit it because my luck, I'll lose the picture in the roll or in the camera roll of my phone or something will happen. I don't have good luck with that. So I immediately submit my fish. But come around about 3, and with COVID going on, they call you. You don't go the way, and they call you, hey, you're top 3, top 5. I need you to come over to, this location and, see how it unfolds there. I didn't get nothing till like 3:45, 3:50. Hey, Josh, I need you to head on over to this location. It appears that you've locked in first place for at least the next 10 minutes. And so I'm fired up, but I keep telling myself, Josh, this is, there's still got 10 minutes. Someone could still be holding that extra kicker fish, okay? I finally waited out my travel on down, and I finally lock in first place. And keep in mind, guys, I've never won first place in any tournament, okay? I've always came in second, third, fifth, or top 10. Or top 10, top 15. I've never been able to hoist that check up and that trophy up and be able to bring it home to the wife and actually, show her, hey, this is what I've been working so hard for. Here's the check. But it was amazing, guys. I was on cloud 9. I was so beat and battered from that win. I didn't want to fish day 2. I really didn't. And I kind of had not necessarily a chip on my shoulder, but you know what? You accomplished your goal. No matter what happens, if you don't fish it Sunday, don't worry about it. It is what it is. You got that one little goal. You've accomplished your goal. You've accomplished what you came out to do. And I've been kite fishing since 2006, in KBF since probably 4 years ago. So 4 years, top 5, top 10 finishes, never been able to bring home one of these puppies right here. I am so grateful and so blessed to be able to finally say I've came in first place, I've cashed a check, and I have the trophy and the check to prove it. So keep in mind, I'm on cloud 9. It was an absolute amazing day, rough day for everybody out there. And I'm just blessed to be able to, I felt like God was on my side, and, I had a lot of luck that day where I was fishing. So, all the credit, I give credit where credit's due. So going into Sunday morning, I already paid my entry fee. I didn't want to waste that $100. So I was like, you know what? I'll go give it my best shot. And going back to pre-fishing, I never had a second location. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go fish the same boat ramp, the same bluff walls, the same blowdowns and brush piles, and see what comes up. Okay? So I go back out there. Again, Sunday morning, it's white capping like crazy. And to me, Sunday morning was worse than Saturday, or Sunday was worse than Saturday. And it wasn't supposed to be. I about flipped Sunday twice. About lost everything. So, but we'll get into that in a minute. So Sunday morning I get there. I show up to the boat ramp right at 7:20, or not 7:22, 6:22. And you can start heading to your spot at 6:30. So I finally get into my kite, get everything unloaded. I start heading to my spot at 6:45. I go to that same bluff wall. Didn't see my buddy Mike over there. I guess he went to another location. And fish were starting to bust topwater again, and I started throwing a whopper plopper around. And I hooked into, I thought it was a bass, but it ended up being a striper, a good striper. Should have kept it and brought it home and ate it, but I didn't. And I was like, you know what? I caught one over here, so you know what? I'm tired of playing with them. I'm just going to go back to what I was catching them on yesterday. So I go back to that same brush pile that I caught 2 18s on Saturday. Didn't catch nothing. I'm like, okay, this is how today's going to go. So I motor on and paddle on to my next location that I started catching more fish Saturday. And I finally hook into a decent, I think it was a decent 15-inch fish. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? At least I'm on the board. At least I'm on the board at this time. And then, I immediately start, fishing docks, broke a bunch of line, broke 2 jackhammers off, to the green pumpkin jackhammer, so I had to switch to a white. And initially, I got back in a cut, found another blowdown in a clay bank. Okay, and I have one keep in mind I didn't break off my second jackhammer until after this fish, so keep in mind. So I throw my jackhammer up against the clay bank, sunny clay bank, but wind's beating the bank. I hit the bank, I pull it off the dry land into the water. Within 3 cranks, I set the hook on a monster bass, okay, guys? And so I finally get in the boat. It is a 20.5-inch fish. Okay, I don't know what happened. They finally accepted it at 20.25, but you know what? It is what it is. It was 20.5 when it was on the board, and I got pictures to prove it. But maybe I had a little bit of a mouth open, not really sure. But that set the mood for the day. That put me in the top 3. I'm like, oh my God, I can actually do this again today. This is not going to happen. Okay, I cannot believe it. So I immediately start fishing hard. I mean, I really kick it in high gear. My adrenaline's pumping again. I finally get, I'm in 3rd place right now. I drop down to 7th. Then I drop into 5th after I catch another 14-inch fish to knock a 12-inch out. And so I'm fluctuating between 3rd and 7th. Then I catch I think it was another 16-inch fish. Puts me in 2nd place. Okay, puts me in 2nd place. Then I go up. I lose my bending branches paddle. Okay, my motor is currently dying at the moment. Okay, my battery is currently dying. And I cast up, and I'm literally sitting there just turning in circles because the wind's blowing me around and my motor didn't have no power because my battery was slowly dying. And I turn around, and I just cast up to some riprap near a dock, set the hook on another 60-inch fish, which puts me in the lead. Okay, which puts me in the lead. Or no, I take that back. It puts me in 2nd place. Sorry, cancel that. It puts me in 2nd place. Okay, this was about 1:30 in the afternoon. My battery's dying. I've lost my paddle, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So I start, giving it a little bit of juice because it'll give it a little bit of juice and then it'll cut off. Give it a little bit of juice and it'll cut off. So I basically had to do that all the way back up to where I started. And at 2:57, I cast up on some rock near a blowdown, throwing a shaky head, and set the hook on, I think it was 16 and a quarter, 16 and 3/4, somewhere on there, which puts me in the lead at 16. Puts me in the lead. They bumped it down to 16.5, which, well, I'll take that back. 16 and 3/4. They bumped it down to 16.5, so it puts me at tie for 1st. But I also had big fish from that 20 and a quarter inch fish. So right now, by the rules, if you're tied for 1st place, they take your biggest fish, which I had the biggest fish in the tournament for that day, which puts me in the lead. This was at 2:57, guys. So at 2:57, I take the lead. At 2:59.57, Corey Dreyer is headed back to the boat ramp, casting a brush pile, sets the hook on what did it end up being? Like a 18-inch fish. Yeah, I think it was 18 3/4. Bumped him to the dang lead. I'm like, God dang it. But he didn't submit it till 3:01 or 3:05 somewhere. I have to look back at the article that he wrote. But I'll get to the boat ramp. He finally was like, God dang it, man, you sandbagging? He goes, no, you didn't hear the story? And then he tells me the story. He cast it in, and he snaps the photo at 2:59.57, so that means it's acceptable, and he has till 4 o'clock in the afternoon to submit the fish. So, but coming in 2nd behind him, I'm okay with because he is a hammer in the industry. I'm glad to lose to him any day of the week. But what was so amazing was I came back from the bottom all day Sunday, back to the lead from just winning Saturday. I about won back-to-back tournaments. Unbelievable. And literally the day before was my first ever 1st place. So you know what? I had a chip on my shoulder, and I will because, I fought hard. It was tough conditions, and I'm proud of what I did, to say the least. So all in all, I came in 2nd place on Sunday, but I got big fish, which was kind of funny because I wasn't in bonus bucks, which I didn't really qualify for bonus bucks because I don't have Yak Attack stuff. I don't have DZ. I don't have none of those other accessories that are accepting, in bonus bucks. But I cashed big fish, which puts me at a higher check than I made Saturday. So all in all, I cashed out. They ended up coming home with like 2,500 or $3,000, somewhere in between there, after taxes and all that junk. But it was a phenomenal day. I finally was able to qualify for a KBF National Championship, which I've never done before neither. That was my goal, is to win first place and get my ticket to the National Championship for 2021. But I qualified for, the Southeast Championship, which was this week, compared with the National Championship for 2020. I wasn't able to go to that, but I did qualify for the Invitational. So I'm going down to Disney in January. And then I get to fish the 2020 or 2021 KBF National Championship at Shreveport, Louisiana. So I'm definitely going down to that, guys. But I've got a new perspective on tournament fishing for next year, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I got a few more tournaments. I got the Bass Nation, Georgia Bass Nation tournament on Lake Sinclair in Georgia, October 24th. And then I'm going up to Lake Chickamauga, Dayton, Tennessee, to fish the Big Bass event on November 21st or something like that. So if you haven't cashed or got into any of those tournaments, you're around the area, definitely come on. More than happy to have you. But so yeah, that's kind of what happened, guys. I was finally able to cash a check, bring home a trophy, and I could not be happier. I know people think, oh, it's just a trail series. You know, anybody can do that. But you know what, guys? This is my first one. So let me rant and let me just, be proud of myself. And, I beat out some top guns. I beat out some hammers in the industry. Keep in mind, yeah, Lake Lanier is technically my home lake, but, it's always feast for salmon. And keep in mind, guys, Saturday and Sunday of that tournament, I have never submitted that amount of fish, that big of fish, in any of those fish in one tournament on Lanier, okay? I've never, even just going out there, just fishing around, not even fishing a tournament, I've never had the success I had that day. So thank you, Lord, because you were on my side that day. But, guys, I know this was a long video, and I'm sorry, but it was a lot to entail because it was 2 tournaments. It was my first time ever winning first place, second place, and big fish. So, it was kind of a big deal, guys. But thank y'all so much for watching. I got some more coming your way. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my tournament setup for winning that tournament, and then also get y'all to be able to look at my new Canoe Pursuit, all rigged out. So that's coming hopefully the next couple days, depending on work. But, guys, thank y'all so much for watching. Be looking out for some more stuff, guys. Stay classy, stay tuned.